everyone, it's Di here from Di's Den. This week I'd like to show you how I made this card. It's a get well card with a soup in there. I don't have chicken soup, so because my husband won't eat chicken soup, he doesn't eat chicken at all, so he likes Asian red Thai curry, so that's what it's got in there, so sorry about that. And a spoon, or you could put in these antibacterial wipes, which would be a really nice idea because of people sick with the maybe the COVID or maybe a flu or cold or whatever. Because this is all done with retired products. The next one I'm going to be doing with retired paper as well, mainly because I wanted to do a male one, and this one opens sideways, so you can see this says on the front get well soon, and inside it says sending healing hugs. So as I say, you can use a chicken soup or whatever, and the bio spoons, teaspoons, or the antibacterial wipes. So let's pop this card out of the way, and we're going to do our other one, this next one, as a top fold. I thought to myself, yep, that stands up okay, but I think I would like to do it as a top fold. So when I do my written tutorial for this card, I will put the measurements for both the top fold and the normal side fold. So I will put there 4 1/8 by 11 3/4, or 8 1/4 by 5 7/8. So it would be either or. So alright, so that way you can make it whichever way up you want. The rest will be exactly the same. Okay, so let's pop that out of the way and let's get in what we've got here. So just pop these bits out of the way, we don't need those. Okay, so we need a card base, in this case, 4 1/8 by 11 3/4. For the front of our card, we need a piece of designer series, a layer that measures, I can't read that from this angle, 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. So 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, and then a designer series paper, which, as I say, we're doing this from mouth, so which measures 5 3/8 by 3 5/8. We also need, for our pocket on the front, a piece of card that measures 6 inches by 3 1/2 inches, and then for the layers on that piece, it will be 3 7/8 by 2 1/4, and then 3 5/8 by 2 inches. For our insert, it will be 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, and 5 3/8 by 3 5/8. And for our circle piece on the front that says get well soon, like this one, this is using the scallop circles, the layering circles from Stampin' Up, and you will need the 5th size of the scallop and the 4th size of the plain circle, which you can get out of your scraps. So for my set that I'm using, believe it or not, Healing Hugs, and I'm going to be using this one that says wishing you a quick and complete recovery. That's for the inside of the card, and for the outside this get well soon, because I think that's all you really need to put on a card. So let's get cracking, shall we? So let's pop all those out of the way like that, and we will bring in our Simply scoreboard, and we will score our main card on the long side, remembering to use the thinner end of your stylus, not the thick end, because we're not scoring on designer series paper. We're scoring on I'm having a real scoring on card. So we need to score this at 5 7/8 of an inch. Okay, so that's all the scoring on that piece there. So then we're going to bring in our other piece, which is the 6 by 3 1/2, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch on the long side. This is 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 5 inches, and 5 1/2 inches. So we're going to turn this on the short side, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And that's all our scoring done. Okay, let's pop that back over there. Let's pop this off the table and we're bringing these. So for this one here, we're just going to fold this in half and burnish this down nicely. And we will stick our 2 layers onto the front of this card first before we do anything else. Oh, if I can get the pin out. So we're going to stick our 2 layers onto the front of the card. As I say, this can be done for both male, female, or if you're wanting to do it for, you know, a teenager, that would be good too. Okay, so that's that piece of the card done. Now, if you've, as like in my case, you've got directional paper, you need to make sure you put your direction of your paper in the correct manner. This piece here, we're going to score on all the 4 score lines, all the score lines, sorry, not all 4, all the score lines. That's our pocket for the front of the card. Okay, now we've done that, we're going to cut away some of these pieces. So we're going to cut away these 2 little squares on the end here. And this next little one just here. But we're also going to cut up to the next score line and then notch this in. Like so. We're going to do exactly the same on the other end. So the 2 little score lines, 2 little squares to be cut off. The next one we're going to cut up to the second score line, but we're only going to cut one square off and then wedge the other one. Come on, get out of there. And that's our cutting done. So our piece should look like this now. So we have 2 score lines down the side and our 3 squares off the end and this one wedged. So we will now pop this onto the front of the card. So let's glue those on to each other. It's just easier to do this while it's flat. And that's onto the front of the card. Oops. Oh, I'm really doing well here today. Glue on everything except where it's supposed to go. Okay, so that's the front of our card done. Oh, itchy eye. Itchy, itchy eye. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to glue this piece down. So we're going to pop in our little tabs and put a little bit of glue onto the tab and then bring around the side and glue it into place. I'll just hold that for a few seconds and then we'll do the other one on the other end. And then we will pop in our bottom piece and then put a little bit of glue on this section just here and bring this one over and squaring that up. Hold that one down and then we'll do exactly the same on the other side. A little bit of glue just on that one, bring that over nice and square and pop that one down on this side. Let's get the glue off the end of my nib. It's actually quite warm here today, so it's supposed to be going for 39 degrees. So we've got our little pouch little ready. So what we're going to do, oh, this one looks like it's a bit skew-whiffy, but we'll bring him up and put him back down again. That looks a bit better. We don't want to be skew with, do we? Okay, so then we're going to just pop some glue onto this section here, and along the bottom. Making sure you don't go off the edge like I did. And then we're going to glue this to the front of the card, right at the bottom. So standing him up like so would be a good idea if you can, and popping him on. And once you're happy with where he is, we can pop him down and just use our foam folder to hold him into place. Okay, so we'll let that sit for a few seconds while we do our bit of stamping. So we're going to stamp, I'm only stamping in black today, in Memento, so let's do our bit of stamping, which says wishing you a quick and complete recovery for our insert. And then it says get well soon on the outside. I don't know if I've got this upside down or not, but it doesn't matter at this stage because it's a circle. Okay, so that's those done, and we will glue these onto our pieces. So we will glue this to the inside of our insert, our layer on our insert. And we will glue this to the other circle. And then we'll glue this to the inside of our card. Excuse me. Just had a nice hot cup of tea. And that's the inside of our card done. So for the outside, let's see now, I just need to put my pin in there because of it being a very warm day. I don't want it to dry up. We're going to use some dimensions here. We're going to use 3 of them. Come here. And what we want to do is we only want to put them at the bottom. So what we need to do is make sure that we put them at the bottom of the circle because we don't want it to go too high. And we're going to just glue that, position that in the center of that so that they don't show across the back there. You can't see in there, but so they don't show at the back here. And that's our card. So we can pop in there our antibacterial wipes and send that off as a lovely card, or we could pop in here our Continental Cuppa Soup. I don't know about in the rest of the world, but here in Australia these are a little bit too wide to go in here, so you just need to tuck the end in a tiny bit like so to pop that into the thing, along with a teaspoon, which I don't know where you buy yours. I buy mine in Woolworths here in Australia. They sell them there. I'm sure that most supermarkets would sell them these days, as it's, I don't know about the rest of the world, but here in Australia plastic spoons and knives and forks and everything have now been banned, so it's metal or it's wood. So that's our card for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. That's the side opening one and that's the top opening one. They're exactly the same and they look great as a card for a person with who would like antibacterial wipes or a cup of soup, I guess if you had the thin packets of tissues, you could probably put one of those in there if you wanted to. And you know, like one of those things you pop up your nose to sniff, you know, the inhaler thingies with the eucalyptus on them. But that's our card for today. If you would like the written tutorial for this, you will find that over on Diane for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. It's free to join. And if you've enjoyed it today, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I love to hear from everybody. I read all the comments and I always leave a thank you back to you. So you will know that I have actually read the comment. And I will see you again next week. Bye for now.